Hello and welcome to the Crypto Masters podcast, helping the general public to master an understanding of crypto assets. My name is Brian McCoy.
And my name is Ross Eaton.
And we are the Crypto Masters. Today's episode is Filecoin. So this week we'll be looking into the world of decentralized file storage and sharing. And Filecoin is also known as the Airbnb of cloud storage.
Oh,
exciting stuff.
Well put, Brian.
Yes. So a quick reminder, our goal here at the Crypto Masters is to provide information about crypto assets to help you, the public, decide if it's something that you may want to invest in, do further research on your own. We generally look at projects to determine if they'd be good for a long-term investment.
Yeah, Brian, and we also get to discuss interplanetary file systems.
Wow.
So, this podcast is going to be huge. It's interplanetary. But
we're big. That's big.
We're big. But yeah, we provide information about different crypto assets to allow you, the listener, to make your own financial decisions. We are not financial advisors, so this is not financial advice, but we want to give you the start you need to really just research on your own and really focus towards that long-term investment for you. So,
all right,
let's get into it.
Disclaimers out of the way. So Filecoin, unlike a lot of projects with Filecoin, it's kind of descriptive. It says what it's about. Filecoin equals files, and so that's what Filecoin is all about. You can think Amazon Web Services, think Google Cloud, think Dropbox. So Filecoin is the crypto, the decentralized version of those products.
Brian, I like files.
Yeah, well, there you go. Then we're there. So Filecoin is a decentralized storage network based on the interplanetary file storage protocol, like Ross mentioned earlier. So we'll probably refer to that as IPFS is the protocol that it's based on. It's designed to utilize unused storage globally in an efficient storage market for users to pay low storage costs. The objective is to ensure that file storage is permanent and distributed across the web. So let's put that in a little bit more simple language. There's people and companies have some unused space on their hard drive. Filecoin and its crypto competitors allow that otherwise unused storage space to be used by someone who needs it. And the person with the unused space gets paid for it, gets paid for what otherwise would be unused, and the person who needs it gets it for less money than using some of the other services like Amazon or Dropbox. It's a win-win scenario, Ross.
Win-win. I like it. So yeah, let's talk about the need for a decentralized storage solution. And of course, there's a cost of storage on these giant company servers like a Dropbox. They're going to have this massive, storage or server farm hosting these files. But just like we've discussed so many times in this podcast, there's a tremendous benefit to decentralization. It's almost just, the decentralized versus centralized battle. It's just unfair, Brian. To be truthful, it's just better tech, in my opinion. So think about it. Centralized storage solutions are just targets for vulnerable attacks too. It's a central point of failure.
It's a bullseye. It's a bullseye.
It is
We've got all this valuable data stored right here in this one place, hackers.
Yeah, don't touch that. Don't touch that right there. You could try. It's gonna be. It's hard. Not anyone can do it, of course. But just like Dropbox in 2016, Brian, it was hacked, and 68 million accounts were compromised. That's just a couple, and I'm sure mine was one of them because I had stuff on Dropbox back then. I might have too. Yeah. Oh yeah, and this is just like if you've got sensitive or valuable data on these servers, that's crucial, and that's really bad. Hopefully you're not putting sensitive data out there, but who knows?
Well, if you got data and you have to store it, sometimes it's sensitive. It could have trade secrets and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. But Decentralized storage solutions like Filecoin use a decentralized blockchain. It takes data, it encrypts it, and then breaks it into smaller chunks and distributes it to multiple nodes on the network. So there's no central point of vulnerability. Only one person with the private key can reassemble the pieces to view the data in its entirety. So I'm almost kind of thinking of BitTorrent in this way. It's a similar approach.
Yeah.
But I truly believe, decentralized file storage system is just an unfair fight. I mean, you really, it's just a better piece of tech.
Well, and the way you describe it, you can just see the value, right? It's not even like, let's say I have, unused storage space on my hard drive. It's not like they take somebody's data and put it all there.
Oh, yeah.
They split it up, which seems to have additional security benefits. So, great concept.
Exactly.
A little bit more about the mechanics of Filecoin. It does have its own blockchain, so it's not a ERC20 or something that's built on Ethereum. It has its own blockchain, and that blockchain is built on top of IPFS. It has its own consensus mechanisms, and they're called proof of replication and proof of space-time.
This is something new, Brian. Can you explain more?
It's pretty straightforward. I mean, we're not going to get into the details of how it works, but from a basic level, proof of replication is the miner or the person storing it has to prove I actually have that, Mm-hmm. And then proof of space-time actually requires the miner to prove that he or it still has that same piece of data. So I look at that proof of space-time as kind of like a periodic audit or checkup to prove that it's still being stored on the with the person or entity that says they're storing it and is getting paid for that storage. So that's the consensus mechanism for Filecoin, quite different than others that we've discussed before. And Filecoin does have something that's called mining. It's just again very different from the mining that we normally think of. In this case, the mining is for the most part is simply storing or allowing the storage on the hard drive. That's the mining. Those miners get paid for allowing the use of the hard drive. It does not, to be a miner though, does have a certain hardware requirements. Mm-hmm. Miners also are required to stake the native token called FIL, F-I-L.
Always want to say file, Brian, but yeah, FIL.
It is. It's FIL.
I'll probably slip up during this podcast, so just warning.
So this is our first mention of the native token, which is FIL. And so miners use it, and they have to stake that in order to be a miner. And then, in the case of other projects we've heard, in the case of bad behavior, that stake can be slashed. So it encourages good behavior and discourages bad behavior. The miner rewards also are paid in FIL. And of course, those rewards are dependent on how much storage space the miner is providing. Also, miners get FIL from the clients who are using storage space. So there's a couple of ways there to get FIL. And then there's also a different type of miner called retrieval miners, whose job is somewhat obvious. They retrieve data for a particular client. So kind of an interesting setup there.
Yeah, very interesting. So let's get into the tokenomics of FIL. FIL is deflationary in the long term, which should make money signs appear in my eyes right now. But FIL tokens are burned to pay for storage fees, but maximum supply of almost 2 billion FIL and circulating supply of 67 million. Yeah, that's quite a bit. So a very small amount in circulation and a very large amount yet to be issued. And the Filecoin Foundation has 5% of that total amount.
Okay. And we'll talk about that, I think, at least I will, a little bit at the end, because I think that's an interesting aspect of it, is the tokenomics of it.
Yeah, very interesting.
Let's talk about the history of Filecoin. Protocol Labs is the sort of the entity behind this. Protocol Labs was founded in 2014. The project Filecoin was founded by Protocol Labs and its leader Juan Bennett. And he's the same person, same company that created IPFS, so you can see the overlap there. The ICO for Filecoin was in August of 2017. It had a very good raise, I think over 200 million. The mainnet was launched on October 15th of 2020. So Filecoin does have competitors, ones that we've not done a show on any other file storage coin or token, but SIA. We've looked into these. I've looked into these. SIA, and it's SIA coin and Storage or Storge are substantially similar to Filecoin. Arweave is similar, so it does have competitors, but Filecoin has by far the biggest market cap. And Filecoin has the most active users among all of these tokens in the space, and has the largest storage capacity. So, but on the other hand, the initial stake requirements to be a miner and some other entry requirements, I think, for the hardware are higher for Filecoin than its competitors. So it can be a little bit more burdensome to get in on the mining of it.
Yeah, for sure. And Brian, I just want to say, everyone's got their competitors, and it seems that Filecoin is just way out ahead of any one of its competitors in the market right now. Just a quick note, but Filecoin is also partnered with LivePeer, which is this decentralized video streaming platform built on Ethereum. And what's pretty cool is they're launching a pilot program where Filecoin miners can also become LivePeer video miners. Which as a miner, I'm very interested in this. Not sure that I'll do it, but something to look into later on down the road. I'm honestly just making a good amount on Ethereum right now while I can. So down the road I might switch. But yeah, it's just really cool that you can double dip, so to speak, while you're mining on the Filecoin network and also earning some LivePeer tokens there as well. So pretty
similar
cool.
to merge mining that we've discussed.
Yeah,
before,
very similar. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Excuse me. So fairly recently, Filecoin came out with something called Filecoin Plus. It's meant to address a flaw that allowed miners to store their own data and receive fill. So this was addressed using an improvement protocol. Filecoin Plus is actually more than that, but that is something that it did. It sort of showed that they have protocols in place to correct and improve. Filecoin has had a couple of fairly serious issues since its launch. At one point after the launch, the blockchain actually went down for a while. Fortunately, no data was lost, and they got it back up and running, I think, in about 4 hours. But it was a bit of a concern. Also, there was a confirmed double deposit from Filecoin onto Binance. It's not really clear what happened. I think they're still looking into it, or they certainly did look into it. But no, that's not the same as a double spend. A double spend, as we know, is a very serious concern. I mean, this was as well, but I believe it's not as serious as a concern as a double spend. So just wanted to point out there have been a couple hiccups with the network. Some big news recently, though, Ross, is Grayscale announced that it will issue a Filecoin trust to be traded, on the stock market. We've all heard of Grayscale's BTC, GBTC is huge.
That's big news.
Yeah, and then of course it had the expected response once Grayscale announced that. There was a nice run up on the price of Filecoin. So that's very positive for the token. Coin.
Some people are saying the gray is the new gold.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now we've mentioned all this cool stuff about Filecoin and how you can store your files in a decentralized manner. So you're probably asking yourself, okay, Ross, Brian, how the heck do I do this? Well, it's relatively simple. Filecoin has a couple of offerings, and just to take a step back here, the Filecoin protocol is really the infrastructure, the back-end way of how these files are going to be distributed and stored. So you as the user need an application or a portal for you to be able to do this. Drop your Word docs, your text files, all that good file stuff on there. So there's a couple applications for you to be able to do this, and I'll link it all in the description for you here. But one of them is Slate. You can upload content straight from your browser. You get 4 gigabytes of storage right out of the box. There's ChainSafe, which is my personal favorite. It's got that Dropbox feel to it. You can create folder structures, stuff like that, just like Dropbox, and drop your files in there. I'm going to be storing my files there. And I think you get 20 gigs of storage right out of the box at that one. And you just sign up, create an account, connect your wallet. I just did MetaMask because I'm not too concerned with what's in my MetaMask wallet, to be honest. But you can connect your own wallet there. And there's also a Space Store, which I haven't really used, but just another another application that might tickle your fancy when it comes to file storage for Filecoin.
Yeah, I haven't stored anything on them yet, but I have looked at the apps, and it's just very user friendly. It's something that the public is familiar with. Like you said, kind of looks like a Dropbox. It's
Yeah.
we talk about the back end of it, which sounds pretty daunting, but for the actual users, it's pretty user friendly.
Oh yeah, it's a super easy feel to it for sure. And just being a computer scientist myself, a computer nerd, I feel like I have to put a little disclaimer out there. For me, if you're going to use Filecoin or Dropbox or anything, just make sure you back up your data. I have stuff saved on Drive and Dropbox and Chain Safe, but I've still got an external hard drive locally just for backups, and I also never store sensitive data on stuff like this. Just a disclaimer.
Good idea.
From one computer nerd to possibly another.
Good suggestion, Ross. And you know what it's time for? Final thoughts.
Cookie.
And you are up first on
Ooh.
this podcast for Ross's final thoughts on Filecoin.
Yep. I'm up first, Brian, and I really like this project. It's got a real world use case that's, users can easily get set up and running for. So I see this user base of the Filecoin system really growing. The tokenomics are good. It's deflationary, which, if you're wanting something to hedge against the dollar is inflating. This is deflating. Honestly, for an investment, this looks like a good bang for your buck. Again, not financial advice or anything. But yeah, I'm really liking this. And I feel as though, some projects we mention, it's kind of difficult for you to kind of grasp at first. If you're talking about Cosmos or Polkadot, it's like, how does a user get involved for this system? Obviously there's tons of use cases out there going forward, but Filecoin, it's straightforward. It's a file storage system. You can log in, create an account, bam, bam, you're good to go. This one, I give it an A++.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Strong,
Brian.
All right.
Oh yeah, that grayscale people, whoever they are, they're getting involved. Oh yeah. I like it.
That's true. They seem to know what they're doing. Okay, one thing we didn't mention is where to buy it. We usually talk about that, but it's not much of an issue for Filecoin. It's on Coinbase Pro. It's on Binance. It's easy to buy. So I did just want to mention that.
It's not hard to find. Good mention, Brian.
So I'm gonna parrot you in a little bit, Ross, because I really love the real world utility of this.
For sure,
it's already being used. It has a lot of partnerships. It has capital. Has long-term plans, and it has very good plans. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a very good chance of success. There is some good competition. I think Filecoin and Storage are both good projects. We haven't done our deep dive yet, so I don't know enough about them to say that, other than I know enough that they're also good projects. But this is clearly the leader. Filecoin is the leader, and it's well funded, so that makes it very formidable. For me, the gray area is tokenomics. So there's currently the supply versus the total amount. I think we said 2 billion is the total, and something like 63 million. So it's a small percentage. So there's a lot left to be issued, which normally for me would be a concern, right? Because we all go back to Bitcoin, and the scarcity is one of the main drivers. There's only going to be 21 million ever, and blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is true. But so here, it's kind of interesting because there is a big amount yet to be issued. And yet I understand there's actually some scarcity right now because the miners have to stake a certain amount, and there's not that much on the exchanges, and they're having trouble getting it. But then long term, you see that there's a lot left unissued. And so the fully diluted market cap is actually more than the market cap of Ethereum. Mm-hmm. So you've got a concern there, but then also there's a release schedule and a minting schedule, which is like up to 30 years. So, which means it's not going to all get dumped at once by any means. So
yeah,
but I guess my only thing is I don't have a full grasp of the tokenomics really and how that will work. In generally, if I see, a market cap of 2 billion and only, 63 million issued, that's a red flag. But in this case, it's not necessarily, but you just have to sort of do some crunching on how that would affect it. So
yeah, for sure.
Anyways, in general, though, it's a great project. I mean, I agree with you. The utility of this can't be disputed. It's great for the crypto world to have a project like this that's real world. It's undeniable that this has a lot of utility and that's actually being used. So, that's just great for the crypto industry. So, final thoughts as far as investing. This is absolutely investable, and I probably will invest. My current plan is I have not right now, but I think I will probably invest some fairly soon and then watch for possible catalysts, to invest more. But in general, I say great project. Kudos to the team for doing this for the crypto space. And yeah, I give it an A also.
Oh yeah, so that's an average of an A.
All right, so another very interesting project in the crypto world, and we'll have another one on the next podcast, Ross.
Absolutely, Brian, and I'm looking forward to it. And, if you guys like this episode, comment, tell us what you want us to cover next.
Yep, we'll be here to cover something else, and my guess is it'll be pretty interesting.
Absolutely, Brian.
All right, thanks, everybody.